Okay, everybody. Hey, thank you so much for watching. So for the people who don't think that there's going to be a big collapse and all this kind of stuff, look, I actually happen to have a little trial version right now. I have Dish Network and Glenn Beck. You know, people who have been watching this channel know he helped me wake up, and then I found out he was working for him. But you know, I have a free trial version. And he was the guy who happened to help wake me up. So I've been watching his stuff on Dish. That's like they throw every now and then they throw the free movie channels in, the free HBO, the free Cinemax. And you know what? He happened to have an amazing presentation yesterday. And for those of you who are saying you're rolling your eyes at Glenn Beck, you should kind of watch this, because I tell you what, this is amazing presentation of facts that you can't argue, you can't dispute. And I tell you what, this is pretty amazing stuff. So this will break it down for anybody who doesn't really know what's going on with the economy and everything, all this kind of stuff. Please watch. Thank you so much.
For those who argue that inflation has remained flat, I want you to explain this. These food items now cost 20% more than they did when Barack Obama got into office. That adds up to $884 per year just on beef, bacon, and ice cream. In Obama's tenure, he has added nearly $3,600 to your grocery bill. Yet they will tell you that there's no inflation. If you stop to fill your tank on the way home from the store, that'll cost you about $80. 4 years ago, that would have cost you $35. That is $1,000 a year for somebody who drives a typical distance every day. That's $2,000 just for these items every year. Meanwhile, what's happened to your household income? Your household income now is down $4,300 since Obama took office. That's $4,300 less to cover if you add it all together, the gas and the food, for 4 years, $7,600 in additional costs due to inflation. You add those two numbers together, what you're earning, how your wages have gone down, how it's cost you more to buy your food and your gas. This president has cost you in inflation $11,900. Now see, this is something when they ask, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? No. No, I'm not. Let me just take 2 of these away, 2 of these away, and 2 of these. That's you no longer have the money. You don't have the money for that anymore. You don't have $11,900. This is how inflation works. It slowly eats. Now, this is just the beginning, because I want to show you some other numbers. These numbers. The Obama economy. These are Inauguration Day. Just check these numbers yourself. Inauguration Day, Americans unemployed. That number has gone up by 495,000 Americans. The unemployment rate has gone up by 3.8%. The long-term underemployment has gone up by 87%. The middle-class income has gone down by $3,960. Gas prices have gone up 107. Home values have gone down 11%. Your worker health insurance cost has gone up 23%. College tuition. He's always talking about making the loans a lot cheaper by making sure we keep a couple of points off your loans. How about this one? College tuition is up by 25% since this man got into office. Americans in poverty, 6.4 million more of them. Food stamps up by 46%. Consumer price index up by 9.1. Federal debt, 51%. That means you owe, besides losing your $11,000 in inflation just on those products, you now owe $16,306 for every man, woman, and child.
Ain't that neat?
Just in debt. And here's the worst one. When President Obama got into office, we were the most competitive. Global competitiveness, we were #1. Now, we're number 7.
Okay, and so those of you out there are saying, well, that's why I vote for Romney. Well, guess what? First of all, The Federal Reserve is who dictates, and you go to their website, federalreserve.gov, you'll find out they are what initiates the monetary policy. So it doesn't matter if it's Romney or Obama. It doesn't matter because the Federal Reserve, for one, is a privately owned corporation, and Romney can sit there and talk like he's going to get rid of Ben Bernanke all he wants, and he says so, but guess what? He can't do so, and it doesn't even matter that because guess what? Romney's top economic advisor is saying that Ben Bernanke is doing a good job. And for all of us who know anything about politics, knows that the president doesn't make any kind of decisions. It's all the people around him. Well, his top economic advisor, look it up, please, Zero Hedge, says that, Ben Bernanke is doing a great job. It doesn't matter. Because Ben Bernanke, like I said, the Federal Reserve, a privately owned corporation made up of all sorts of different bankers, are who would dictate the monetary policy. That's their job. That's why they were instituted. It doesn't matter if it's Romney or Obama. They can do policies all they want. It's the Federal Reserve that institutes these policies. And this is a result of quantitative easing 1 and quantitative easing 2. So over the last 4 years, you have seen quantitative easing 1 and quantitative easing 2 do these things to your bank account. Well, now we have an open-ended infinity quantitative easing. So just imagine, out of the last 4 years, QE1, QE2, they doubled your gas, they damn near doubled your food. Doesn't matter. Now we have open-ended quantitative easing 3. So imagine, it's not going to get any better. So it's doubled over the last 4 years. It's going to get even worse these next coming years. And just to show you how it doesn't matter, because this whole thing is made up of bankers, the Federal Reserve, who monitors and institutes monetary policy. Let's look at it. Morgan Stanley, one of the people who make up the Federal Reserve. You see Morgan Stanley here? Morgan Stanley, hey, they donated George Bush. And look, you'll see Morgan Stanley did the same thing. Sorry, it's a little blurry. Morgan Stanley, Barack Obama. Morgan Stanley, Mitt Romney. How about Goldman Sachs? Goldman Sachs, George W. Bush. Goldman Sachs, Barack Obama. Goldman Sachs, Mitt Romney. Look, all these presidential candidates are bought. And you're saying, well, it's all shaky, it's a little dim. I'll put this below so you can see it yourself. Look, these bankers are these candidates, they're bought by the bankers. So you can only imagine what it's going to look like in 4 years when there was a cap. Quantitative easing 1 and quantitative easing 2 had caps on them. They said we're only going to spend this amount of money. Now they did quantitative easing 3 infinity. So just imagine what it's going to look like 4 years from now. You think the economy can have, if in 4 years gas doubled from $2 to $4, can you imagine $4 to $8 in 4 years? That's what's going to happen. Got the facts right here. I'll put all this stuff below. It's the truth. It's what's going to happen. It's absolutely what's going to happen. The banks have bought these candidates. It's the bank's policies, no one else's policies. Just the bank's policies. The Federal Reserve, as a matter of fact. So it's not going to get any better because now, as we know, USA, open-ended quantitative easing. Europe announced open-ended quantitative easing. And guess what also? Guess what now? Japan came out today and said, you know what they're going to do? They're going to print 10 trillion yen. Not million, not billion, trillion yen. So all the people out there saying, I'm sick and tired of all these conspiracy collapse videos. I'm sick and tired of it. When's it going to collapse? All those people that are out there saying that, first of all, one, you don't have to watch these videos. And two, you're going to get it. You're going to get your riots. You're going to get your chaos. You're going to get your friends and your family and your house broken into. You're going to get it. Because there is never, and I'm tired of hearing this. You've never heard of all economies, major, and okay, fine, maybe not all, major economies just hit and control print to print themselves out of this debacle. You can't get yourself out of debt by printing more debt. And check this out. He'll even do it again. This is even better. Check this out. This is even better. So the people say it can't happen. Can't happen. Watch this. Has happened before.
Now, the scariest part of what they did last week on QE3, that's print and spend, is there is no set amount. Imagine if the president said, hey, I want to do a bailout And, you know, I've gone for $1 trillion the last couple, but there's no limit on this. I'm just going to keep doing it as long as it takes. Would anyone go for that? The Fed is. And it starts with $40 billion, and it's unlimited after that, giving the Fed an unchecked green light to print as much money as they want, making it all that easier for them to destroy the dollar and to manage our decline. That's exactly what is going on. And that's what happens when there's a rapid increase in the money supply that is not supported by growth in output of goods and services. Well, let me show you a couple of historic examples. This is what happens when countries try to print and spend their way out of economic trouble and they have no economic growth. See, this sounds familiar. Weimar. This is what led to Nazi Germany. Weimar was facing massive World War I debts. Germany tried to print their way out of the crisis. In 1918, this is a mark. This is a gold mark. One of these in 1918 equaled one gold mark. In 1923, the paper marks, it took 1 trillion of these to equal one gold mark. They just print. Second case, Hungary. Now this is the most severe case of hyperinflation in history. After World War II, they printed banknotes with the value of 100 quintillion pango. One of these notes was worth 20 US cents. Zimbabwe. This one. Zimbabwe, in 2001, while the World Trade Center went down, one Zimbabwe dollar was equal to about 100 American dollars. 7 years later, the exchange rate was 7.1 million Zimbabwe dollars to 1 American dollar. It happens that fast. Annual inflation rose 231 million% in July of 2008. They printed $100 trillion notes. One loaf of bread cost what 12 cars did 10 years earlier. I don't know what the point of no return is, gang, but we have just crossed the threshold into very spooky territory, and we're in the wrong direction. And it ain't gonna last long. As I just showed you in all of those examples, it happens.
Like that. So, you know, like I said, for the people who don't think it's gonna happen, hey, good luck to you. And for those who watch my stuff, watch this channel, and have been preparing, God bless you guys. Thank you so much for doing so. I appreciate your efforts because it's going to be well needed. Because if you're not preparing now, you're not preparing to fail. You're expecting that. No, you're not. If you're not preparing now, you're not preparing to fail. You know, you're preparing for a life of violent crime. So thank you to everybody who watches this. Thank you for everybody who listens to this. And thank you to every one of my supporters and people who watch this channel. I couldn't do without you. You guys are on the right track. Sorry people don't listen. Sorry you feel alienated. Sorry you feel alone. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. I love you guys. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing the right thing. Thank you.